The vast expanse of space had always been a domain ruled by the Galactic Empire, a force so powerful and far-reaching that countless star systems bent under its control. For centuries, the Empire's fleets patrolled the galaxy's borders with confidence and dominance, their presence a constant reminder to any who might think to challenge them. But now something was different, something unsettling. Deep within the core worlds, where the heart of the Empire thrummed with the pulse of countless ships, administrators and soldiers, strange reports began to arrive from distant outposts. A colossal armada was moving through the void at speeds that had never before been recorded. It was not just the size of the fleet that caught the Empire's attention, but the fact that it seemed to be advancing without any hesitation, without any attempt to communicate or slow down. The commanders gathered in the high halls of the Imperial War Council watched the incoming data with growing confusion and concern. The ships in this fleet were unlike any they had encountered. Their shapes were unusual, defying the typical geometric designs favored by known alien species or Imperial engineers. The energy readings emitted from their engines and weapons systems were strange and difficult to analyze. Many of the senior officers whispered theories in hushed tones. Was this a new alien race emerging from the unknown regions? Had some forgotten? Civilization suddenly awakened with deadly intent? Or was this a secret weapon, designed in the dark corners of the galaxy, meant to catch the Empire unprepared? The answer, when the first scout ships managed to approach and observe, shook the entire leadership to their core. These vessels, massive, sleek, oddly familiar, shared uncanny similarities with the earliest human ships. The very types once studied by Imperial historians as relics of a species long thought primitive and insignificant. Yet these new ships were not simple copies. They bore advanced modifications and technological enhancements that suggested the humans who commanded them had evolved far beyond what anyone in the Empire had imagined. The Imperial High Command, who had long dismissed humanity as a scattered and weak species, now faced a chilling new reality: this Armada, moving swiftly through the stars with such purpose and strength, might very well be human. News of this revelation spread quickly, sending ripples of unease throughout the political and military ranks. The Empire had spent centuries conquering and assimilating numerous species, building a reputation as an unstoppable force. But the humans? They were different. The Empire's experience with humans had been limited to small skirmishes on the edges of explored space, always underestimating their tenacity and resourcefulness. Now, seeing an entire fleet that not only matched Imperial technology but surpassed it, the leaders realized their old prejudices might have blinded them to a growing threat. There was a tension in the air, an unspoken fear that this human armada was more than just a fleet. It was a challenge to the very order the Empire had established. As the Armada continued its relentless approach, sensors began picking up strange signals patterns of communication that did not resemble any known language or code, yet bore fragments that hinted at a shared history with humanity's past. Analysts struggled to decode these transmissions, hoping to understand the intentions behind the advance. Meanwhile, rumors blossomed across the Empire's many worlds. Some believed the humans sought revenge for old grievances. Others whispered of a secret alliance between the humans and other alien factions who had long plotted to bring down the Empire from within. At the same time, ordinary citizens, far from the centers of power, watched the skies nervously. The presence of the Armada inspired stories and speculation. Were the human saviors coming to free oppressed worlds? Were conquerors eager to claim the galaxy for themselves? In the command rooms, debates raged. Military leaders urged preparation for immediate conflict, while politicians pushed for diplomatic contact, hoping to avoid war. The tension reached a peak when a new scouting party finally succeeded in close observation. They saw the humans not as faceless enemies, but as determined individuals, operating their ships with skill and precision. These humans moved with a purpose that spoke of survival and hope, not reckless conquest. Yet the mystery remained. What was the true goal of this massive armada? The Empire's leaders found themselves grappling with a question that went beyond politics or power. How could a species once considered insignificant now return with such strength? The answer seemed to lie hidden among the stars. In the secrets of human resilience and unity, qualities that the Empire had never fully understood. As the Armada continued its approach, the Empire braced itself for the unknown. Would the humans bring destruction? Or was there a chance for something greater, an unexpected alliance, or a new understanding that could reshape the galaxy? The void remained silent, but the shadow of the human fleet stretched far and wide, casting doubt over the future of the Galactic Empire as the human Armada steadily closed the distance toward the core worlds of the Galactic Empire. The tension within the Empire grew thicker with each passing hour. The arrival of such a vast and technologically advanced fleet was unlike anything the Empire had faced before, and it forced them to respond quickly and carefully. Recognizing the need to gather more information, the Empire dispatched its best. Diplomats and spies, men and women trained in the delicate arts of negotiation, observation, and subtlety. Their mission was clear: intercept any vessels they could. Learn as much as possible about these strange newcomers, and find a way to open communication without provoking unnecessary conflict. Days later, one of the reconnaissance teams succeeded in capturing a small scout ship from the Armada. The ship itself was a marvel of design, sleek, durable, and equipped with technology far surpassing Imperial standards. The boarding party approached with caution, expecting hostile resistance, but instead encountering a crew that appeared calm, disciplined, and surprisingly human in every aspect. The initial shock of seeing humans who were so different from any recorded descriptions rippled through the ranks of the Imperial forces. These were not the scattered, divided humans from old records or the desperate survivors from border skirmishes. Instead, these humans were united in purpose, their faces marked by determination and experience, their movements precise and efficient. They carried themselves with a fierce loyalty to one another and a strong sense of identity that went beyond mere survival. What caught the Imperial commander's attention most was the advanced technology integrated throughout the ship. The weapon systems, propulsion units, and communication arrays suggested that the human race had made giant leaps forward, centuries ahead of what the Empire had expected or even thought possible. It was clear that these humans were no longer a disorganized collection of scattered colonies, but a well-organized force with a clear goal and purpose. During the tense interrogation sessions, the human crew remained steadfast but not hostile. Their message was simple, yet profound. They did not come seeking to conquer the Empire, nor were they prepared to bow to its overwhelming power. Instead, they sought survival, respect, and recognition as equals in the galaxy. Their words struck a chord within the Empire's leadership, challenging long-held beliefs that humanity was a primitive species destined to be overshadowed or absorbed by stronger powers. The whispers that spread through the Imperial halls were filled with disbelief and curiosity. Could this be true? Could the humans have evolved beyond what anyone had imagined? Could they be the ones to change the balance of power in the galaxy? These questions sparked heated debates among military strategists, politicians, and scholars alike. Some saw the humans as a potential threat to be destroyed before they could grow stronger. Others began to wonder if there might be an opportunity for cooperation, for learning from a species that had defied all expectations. As news of the captured scout ship and its crew spread, citizens throughout the Empire became captivated by the mystery of the humans. Stories circulated about their bravery, their unity, and the advanced technology they wielded. Artists painted images of the human Armada as a symbol of hope or doom, depending on their views. Meanwhile, the humans aboard the captured ship shared glimpses of their history, their struggles, and their unwavering belief in the strength found. In unity, they spoke of planets long lost to war and hardship, of colonies brought together by shared dreams of freedom and survival. Their past was not one of empire or domination, but of resilience and determination. Slowly, the Empire began to realize that humanity's power was rooted not only in their technology, but in their spirit, their ability to adapt, to come together despite differences, and to fight not for conquest, but for the right to exist and be recognized. The human crew's presence challenged the Empire's assumptions and forced them to rethink what it truly meant to be powerful in the vastness of space. As the Armada continued its advance, the question on everyone's mind was no longer just about who these humans were, but what they would do next. Would they attempt to negotiate, to seek peace? Or were they preparing for a conflict that could reshape the future of the galaxy? The Empire watched and waited, caught between fear and fascination, as the echoes of humanity grew louder across the stars. It's promising a future full of uncertainty and possibility. Tensions across the galaxy reached a boiling point as the human Armada drew near a critical trade route long controlled by the Galactic Empire. A vital artery for commerce and military movement that connected several key star systems. For months, the Empire had watched the humans' steady advance with a mixture of curiosity, fear, and disbelief. But it was only a matter of time before these uneasy observations turned into open conflict. The first clash happened unexpectedly, when an Imperial patrol fleet tasked with guarding the trade route encountered a squadron from the human Armada. The humans did not hesitate or signal their intent to negotiate. Instead, they engaged with a fierce intensity that caught the Imperial forces off guard. The battle was unlike any the Empire had experienced before. The human commanders employed tactics that defied conventional military doctrine, using unpredictable maneuvers and rapid adaptation to the shifting conditions of space combat, where the Empire's fleets relied on overwhelming firepower and rigid formations. The humans preferred flexibility, surprise, and a willingness to take risks that unsettled the more cautious Imperial admirals. It soon became clear that the humans were not just fighting with superior technology, but with a relentless will that came from their history of survival in harsh environments and their unity as a people. Every move they made seemed to reflect years of hardship, where creativity and cooperation had been the keys to overcoming impossible odds. Imperial ships found themselves outmaneuvered and outmatched, struggling to counter the swift and clever assaults. The clash escalated rapidly, resulting in significant losses for the Empire, which had expected an easy victory against what they had assumed was a disorganized enemy. Instead, they faced a force that combined innovation with raw determination, making the fight unpredictable and deeply frustrating for the Imperial commanders. Behind the scenes, as the battle unfolded, the human leaders communicated with calm confidence. They spoke of their shared history, their belief in the power of unity across their diverse colonies, and the importance of innovation born from necessity. To them, this conflict was not about conquest or domination. It was about proving their right to exist and to be recognized as equals among the stars. As the battle raged, news of the unexpected human tactics and victories spread quickly throughout the Empire. Whispers among Imperial officers questioned whether the traditional strategies and grand fleets that had dominated countless wars were still effective. The Empire's pride in its military might was shaken, forcing a painful reevaluation of their approach to warfare. Meanwhile, civilians and political leaders across Imperial worlds watched anxiously, wondering if this new human force could signal a shift in galactic power or even the beginning of a long and costly war. The first contact clash marked a turning point not only in the conflict, but in the Empire's understanding of humanity. No longer could they dismiss humans as primitive or weak. These were a people forged by adversity, united by a shared vision, and equipped with a level of ingenuity that demanded respect. As the smoke cleared from the battlefield and both sides prepared for what might come next, the Galactic Empire stood at a crossroads. The humans had made their mark, challenging assumptions and opening a door to a future where old power structures might crumble. Whether this future would be one of war or uneasy peace remained uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity was no longer a forgotten species in the galaxy. They were a rising force, ready to change everything. In the tense quiet that followed the fierce battles near the trade routes, the Galactic Empire found itself facing a challenge unlike any before, not only from the formidable human Armada, but also from a rising doubt within its own ranks about what the future held. Recognizing the heavy cost and uncertainty of continued conflict, secret negotiations were quietly arranged away from the public eye and the prying eyes of curious worlds. These talks were conducted with utmost caution by emissaries from both sides, each wary but aware that open war might bring destruction beyond control. It was during these delicate meetings that the humans shared their long-held truth, a revelation that stunned the Empire's leaders to their core. They were the descendants of Earth, the ancient cradle of humanity, a planet long thought lost to the depths of time and space. These humans had survived countless trials, wars, exile, near extinction, and had united disparate colonies scattered across far-flung regions to reclaim their rightful place among the stars. Armada was not a fleet of conquerors, but a symbol of resilience and hope, built to defend freedom and preserve life, rather than to impose, rule, or dominate others. This admission transformed the tone of the negotiations. The Empire, which had dismissed humans as scattered and primitive, now faced a people who carried the weight of history and the strength of survival. The human representatives spoke passionately of their vision, a galaxy where diverse worlds could live without fear of tyranny, where cooperation was valued over conquest, and where the scars of past sufferings could heal through unity rather than destruction. As these discussions unfolded, a new shadow loomed over the galaxy, an unknown alien species lurking beyond the borders of all known space. Watching the unfolding events with keen interest, this species, mysterious and silent, seemed to wait for the perfect moment to strike, ready to exploit any divisions or weaknesses among the powerful factions of the galaxy. The Empire's spies soon brought warnings of this threat, describing strange activity and unexplained disappearances on the edges of their territories. The humans, too, sensed this danger from their intelligence networks and long experience surviving hostile environments. Suddenly, what had seemed like a simple dispute between two powers became a far more complex game of survival and strategy. Both the Empire and the humans realized that if they continued to fight each other, they might only weaken themselves and leave the galaxy vulnerable to this hidden enemy. For the first time, the possibility of cooperation emerged, an uneasy but necessary alliance to confront a common foe that threatened all life, regardless of allegiance or history. The political debates within the Empire grew heated. Some factions insisted on total dominance and destruction of the human threat, unwilling to accept any compromise. Others argued for pragmatism, pushing leaders to set aside pride and old prejudices. In favor of a united front that could protect their worlds from this greater danger, on the human side, voices called for trust and partnership, emphasizing that their strength came not only from technology and tactics, but from their belief in shared goals and mutual respect. This growing awareness of shared vulnerability began to reshape alliances and strategies across the galaxy. The secret talks expanded beyond diplomats to include military planners and scientists, who worked together to understand the alien threat and devise plans for defense and retaliation. Technology was shared cautiously, knowledge exchanged carefully, as the once clear lines between enemy and ally blurred in the face of a greater enemy. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens across both the Empire and human colonies experienced a wave of hope mixed with anxiety. Propaganda shifted to messages of unity and survival, though fears of betrayal and mistrust lingered beneath the surface. Yet, for many, the idea that former enemies could stand together against a mysterious foe sparked a new sense of purpose and possibility. As the negotiations continued, the true nature of the alien threat slowly came into focus. This species was unlike any previously encountered, stealthy, adaptable, and highly intelligent, capable of manipulating both technology and biological systems in ways that defied understanding. Their motives remained unclear, but their readiness to strike and their ability to remain hidden made them one of the deadliest threats the galaxy had ever faced. Faced with this revelation, the Empire and the human Armada found themselves at a crossroads. Could old wounds be healed? Could mistrust be overcome? Or would fear and pride doom the fragile chance for peace and cooperation? In the depths of Starship command centers and Imperial palaces alike, leaders wrestled with these questions, knowing that the answers would determine the fate of billions. The galaxy watched silently, holding its breath as two great powers once ready to clash now contemplated a fragile alliance to face a danger that threatened all life. It was a time of reckoning, where the echoes of past conflicts met the urgent call for unity. The choices made in these hidden chambers would shape the future, proving that even in the darkest hours, hope and cooperation could still light a path forward. The humans, with their stories of survival and unity, stood ready not just to fight but to build a new future alongside the Empire. If only the Empire could find the strength to trust and accept them. And as the shadowy threat gathered strength in the darkness beyond the stars, the galaxy prepared for a new chapter, one written not by the sword alone, but by the courage to change and the will to survive together. The shadow of the alien menace, once just a distant threat lurking at the edges of known space, now loomed larger than ever, forcing two great and once opposed powers, the Galactic Empire and the human Armada, into an uneasy and fragile alliance. The air was thick with tension and mistrust, but the very survival of countless worlds depended on cooperation, innovation, and the blending of strengths. The Empire, with its vast fleets, well-trained soldiers, and rich resources, combined forces with the humans, who brought unmatched ingenuity, adaptability, and a spirit that refused to be broken by centuries of hardship. Together, they began to weave new strategies and technologies, merging imperial engineering prowess with human creativity in ways never before imagined. Laboratories and war rooms filled with collaboration as scientists and tacticians worked side by side, forging weapons and defense systems that could meet the alien threat's mysterious abilities. The battles that followed were fierce and relentless, pushing both sides to their limits. The alien invaders showed terrifying power, striking with precision and cunning, challenging every plan and forcing constant adaptation. Yet, in the heat of combat, the human spirit shone brightest, a spirit born of unity, resilience, and an unyielding will to protect not just themselves, but the galaxy at large. Their determination inspired the Imperial forces, breaking down centuries-old prejudices and doubts. Soldiers who once saw humans as inferior began to fight alongside them with growing respect and admiration. Fleet commanders learned to value human tactics that emphasized flexibility and innovation. Human leaders recognized the discipline and strength of Imperial forces. This melding of strengths created a force greater than the sum of its parts, capable of standing firm against the alien tide. As the war progressed, victories grew, and the alien threat was gradually pushed back from core systems to the outer reaches of the galaxy. These triumphs were hard-won and paid for with sacrifice. But they built a new sense of hope among the people of the Empire and the human colonies alike. Old divisions faded in the light of shared struggle and survival. Where once suspicion and fear ruled, now mutual respect and understanding began to take root. The alliance, once seen as temporary and uneasy, blossomed into a partnership founded on trust and common purpose. Across countless worlds, the news of this unity spread like wildfire, igniting hope and pride. The galaxy, once divided by old prejudices and conflicts, saw the emergence of a new era, one where humanity's strength was not measured solely by its weapons or technology, but by its unity, courage, and determination. The human Armada became a symbol of resilience and cooperation, proving that the power to change the future lay not in domination, but in working together. Leaders from both sides spoke openly of a shared destiny, a future where the mistakes of the past would not be repeated, and where diverse species could find peace and prosperity through mutual respect. In the grand halls of the Empire's capital, once echoing with suspicion and fear, conversations now buzzed with hope and plans for rebuilding and collaboration. The ancient dream of a galaxy united under peaceful terms seemed closer than ever before. At the heart of this transformation was the recognition that being human meant more than survival or conquest. It was a force born of resilience, empathy, and the willingness to face the unknown together. The battles had tested their resolve, but it was this indomitable spirit that had ultimately turned the tide and brought the galaxy toward a new dawn. As the last of the alien forces retreated beyond the known borders, the joint fleets of humans and Imperials stood as a testament. to what could be achieved when old fears were cast aside in favor of unity and hope. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter on this new chapter. A future written not with the cold hand of domination, but with the warm strength of cooperation and understanding. The galaxy watched as the Galactic Empire and humanity once rivals and strangers became partners and protectors, guardians of a peace hard won and a hope fiercely defended. This was the beginning of an era where humanity's true power, its unity and spirit, would lead the way, of proving that sometimes the greatest weapon of all is the heart and will to stand together.